Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's session we are going to discuss about free development tools. So we are going to install Visual Studio 2022. Then we will install Microsoft SQL Server 2019 and we are going to install SQL Server Management Studio. Also we are going to install Postman, which is used for Web API testing purpose. First we will install Visual Studio 2022. Before continuing with this session, I would request you all, please subscribe to my channel and click on bell icon for notification alerts. Before installing any software, we have to check the system requirements. So open the Google and search for Visual Studio 2022 system requirement. So you can open the Microsoft official website. Here it is mentioned system requirements for Visual Studio 2022. So operating system, it is supporting Windows 10 and 11. And if you want to install Visual Studio 2022 in your server, you can install in any of the server which is the version of 2016 and above versions, like 2019-22 it is supporting. The hardware part, so minimum processor is 1.8 GHz required and it should be 64-bit processor, and this is the processor configuration they provided. And minimum RAM required is 4 GB and recommendation is 16 GB. And hard disk minimum is 850 MB. It should be up to 210 GB available space is required. And installation, it takes minimum 20 to 50 GB of space. So even if you have 120 GB space also it's enough. But for installation part alone, for installation part it will take 20 to 50 GB of the space. And this is the video card which is required minimum configuration. So you can check all the configuration in this website. I'll provide these links in the video description. So now we will go to microsoft.com and we will download it. So we are going to download 2022 and we are going to download community version, which is free. If you want to install professional or enterprise version, you can install, but we need license for these versions. Community version is free version, so we are going to download community version of 2022. So it's downloading the setup file. Just show in folder. Double click on the setup, click on yes, click on continue. It is downloading all the required files for the installation. This downloading speed is depends on your internet speed and your system configuration, that is hardware configuration. Based on your system hardware configuration and your internet speed, it is downloading. So here we have to select which are all the features we required for .NET. I am selecting web development tools and I want mobile development, and this is universal Windows platform development I am selecting. And you can select the .NET desktop development. So you can select any features which you required based on your requirement. And you can select individual components also from this tab. That is, I want .NET 5.0 run, and we can select .NET Framework 3.5 development tools. And here we have two options, which is download all then install. So what it will do is, first it will download all the required files, then it will start the installation. If you select install while downloading, it will start the install those files which is already downloaded. So I am selecting the install while downloading option. Click on install. So it's saying my operating system is not supporting with this version, so still I want to install. Then you can click on continue. we can click on continue to install. After installing this also, we can update the Windows patches which is required for Visual Studio 2022. Recently I formatted my system, that's why I'm installing all the software which we are using for .NET development. So I thought of making video on this. So total file size is 6.64 GB downloading, which is related to Visual Studio 2022. After successful installation, I restarted my machine. I'm going to open Visual Studio. So this is our Visual Studio. So here it is asking to sign in. If you have any account with the Microsoft.com, you can click on sign in and you can provide your login credentials, or you can skip by clicking on not now. Here you can select the theme which you want. Yes, I am selecting blue. Start Visual Studio. So when you are opening first time, it takes some time to configure your studio. So this is our Visual Studio 2022. Here we can create any project by clicking on create a new project. If you want to add any of the features to your already existing studio, you can go to installer, that is Visual Studio installer. Click on this. Here you click on modify. Here you can check any of the features which you want to add it, or you can select on individual components tab. From here also you can select which is required for you, and you can enable like this, and you can click on modify so that these features will be installed in your Visual Studio 2022. So like this you can install any of the community version which is related to Visual Studio without any license in our local machine. In previous session we have discussed about how to download and install Microsoft Visual Studio 2022 without any license. So in today's session we are going to discuss about SQL Server 2019. We are going to download a free version, that is Express version, and we are going to configure in our local machine. Before downloading SQL Server, we have to check the system configuration for installation. This is the hardware requirements for SQL Server 2019. So we need hard disk space of 6 GB to install the SQL Server, and monitor we need VGA which is having the graphics resolution of 800 by 600, and we need internet connectivity, and also we need memory of 512 MB for the Express version. If you are using any other than Express version, we need a minimum of 1 GB. We are going to install Express version, so we need a minimum of 512 MB RAM. Recommended is 1 GB for the Express version, so we need 1 GB RAM for Express version, and all other additions recommended by Microsoft is 4 GB minimum RAM required, and processor we need 1.4 gigahertz, and it is recommended is 2 gigahertz or more than 2, and the processor type should be it's a 64-bit processor required, and they provided some models also here, so you can go through with this hardware requirements. And if you comes to software requirements, need operating system of Windows 10 and higher versions, and if you are installing your SQL Server in any of your Windows servers, and then the operating system should be Windows Server 2016 or greater than that. and we need .NET framework to configure SQL Server. So in our case we already configured Visual Studio, so we no need to install this .NET framework. And we need network software like TCP IP need to be enabled. That is the software requirement to install the SQL Server. And here they provided detailed operating systems which going to support for the SQL Server 2019. You can go through with this link. Link will be provided in video description. And now we will download SQL Server 2019 Express version. So always try to download all the softwares from the Microsoft official website. In our case we are going to select the language as English, and here also we have the system requirements, that is our processor, RAM and hard disk space, which is required for this SQL Express version. And here they provided installation instructions also. So click on download. So we are going to download exe file and go to the folder. This is our exe which we are going to install. Double click on this exe, click on yes. So sometimes you may face this error like a required file could not be downloaded. This could mean the version of the installer is no longer supported. They are asking to download it again from this website which is given by the Microsoft. Even though you download again, the same file will be downloaded, and that is also it will throw the same error. So for that we have to fix it. So go to the PowerShell, open, right click on Windows PowerShell, run as administrator, click on yes. Here we are going to change some configuration values, click on enter, and these two commands will be shared in video description. So you have to paste and enter. This has been completed. Now double click on this exe which we downloaded from microsoft.com. So now it is asking to download media and custom installation. We have to download media first. For that we are going to download with the language of English, and I need advanced version SQL Express. So here select the Express advanced version. So it will be downloaded into this folder. If you want, you can change your storage location by clicking on browse and click on download. It is downloading all the necessary files from microsoft.com. It's around a 796 MB file. So our SQL Server Express version has been downloaded successfully, and we can click on open folder. So this is the file which is downloaded. Click on this exe. So this exe is having all the files which is not extracted. Once we click on this button OK, these files will be extracted into the downloads. Under downloads, this is the folder it is going to create. If you want to change all these things, you can change by clicking on browse. I'm going to leave it as it is. Click on OK. So it is created one folder. So all the necessary files will be extracted into this folder. This is SQL Server Installation Center. Click on New SQL Server Standalone Installation. Here we have to accept the license terms. So check this checkbox, click on Next. So here you can check this if there is any updates related to your SQL Server Express version. So Microsoft will provide the updates for you. Click on Next. Here it is showing warning because we enabled the Windows firewall, that's why it is showing the warning. If you don't want to see this warning, it should come paused, means then you have to disable your Windows firewall, then it will come as paused, but you can skip these warnings, that's not a problem, but remaining all three should be paused. Click on Next. Here I am going to select only server, I don't want the machine learning things. If you want, you can select all the things also. Click on Next. Here we have to provide the SQL Server instance name. If you want to leave it as default name, you can click on default instance. If you want to provide any named instance, you can click it here. In my case, I am giving SQL demo server. I am giving SQL demo, and in my instance ID also SQL demo. Click on Next. Here you can create multiple instances also if you required. For that, again you have to run the SQL Server standalone installation version, and you have to add all the settings what we did now. Click on Next. Here you have to select what type of authentication you are going to use. If you want to use only Windows authentication, you can leave it as Windows authentication, and you can click on Next. If you want to use Windows authentication and SQL Server authentication, then you have to select the mixed mode, and here you have to provide the password for SQL Server authentication. So here if you want to add multiple accounts, you can add it. In my case, I am adding my default account. This is my logged in account. Click on Next. So our SQL Server 2019 is successfully installed. So we got all the status as succeeded. If there is any error, you can see here it will be updated as error like that. So we have successfully configured our SQL Server. Access our SQL Server, we need of management studio. So now we have installed only SQL Server engine. If you try to access SSMS, that is SQL Server Management Studio, you will not get it because you have to install that SQL Server Management Studio also. We have to download and install SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm going to install one by one, which is all the tools used for our .NET development. We installed Visual Studio and SQL Server. Now we are going to install SQL Server Management Studio. Now we install the engine, SQL Server engine. So now we are going to install Management Studio so that through Management Studio we can access our SQL Server. For that I'll search here Management Studio. So we can download any latest version. We have the latest version of 18.11. Click on this. This file is downloading. So this SSMS setup has been downloaded. Click on show in folder. So this is the exe which we have to run to install SSMS. Double click on this exe. Here if you want to change this location, you can click on change and you can select where you want to store all the files related to SSMS. I am leaving as default one. Click on install. Now our Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio has been installed successfully. Click on. Now we will search for SQL Server Management Studio. It has been installed. Click on this Management Studio. So when you are opening first time, it will take some time. So this is my PC name and this is my SQL instance. By default it is selected. I'm going to use Windows authentication. Click on connect. It's connected to my database server. From here we can create all our databases which is related to SQL. So we installed Visual Studio and SQL Server, and also we installed Management Studio. Finally we are going to install Postman, which is used to test our web APIs. Go to Google. So Postman downloader. Go to official website postman.com. Click on this link. Here you can select the Windows 64-bit. I'm using Windows 64-bit, that's why I'm clicking on this. So it's downloading that exe of Postman. Our exe has been downloaded successfully. Click on show in folder. So this is the exe related to Postman. Double click on this. Now our Postman is installing. click on new. So our Postman has been installed successfully. From here we can test all our web APIs. To get method, we can pass our URL and we can click on send, post, put, patch, delete, everything is available. So we have installed all the tools related to development, so which is used for the .NET application development. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.